his address to us. Thank you so much.
Perhaps it's the Italian in me, but I think besides breathing, you probably need a coffee at this stage. So I'll try to be brief, but thank you very much, Stavrula, for introducing me. Dear Deputy Minister, dear Minister, dear friends from the EU, and actually you brought me back in time, because when at the beginning of my career in the European Parliament, when I was in the Committee on Employment and Social Affairs, I visited both foundations in Turin and Dublin, so it's good to see you here, and President Röpke, of course, it's always a pleasure to see you. We started our conversations in New York, so it's good to continue such conversations. As many have said, all our member states realize that peace, freedom and prosperity depend on a stronger and more united Europe. And completing the European project is now on top of the EU's agenda. And as Commissioner Kos said when she visited Tirana quite recently, we are living at a historic moment. For the first time in a decade, there is a realistic prospect that we can bring one or more candidate countries to the finish line during the current European Commission's mandate. And this is a process that has a new dynamism. And as many were saying before, an important novelty of the process is that the countries are and will be enjoying some of the benefits of the EU memberships even before they become fully fledged members. I can confidently say that Albania is taking full advantage of that opportunity. And in this context, Albania also has the ambitious plan to conclude accession negotiations by the end of 2027. And let me say again that we fully support Albania in this merit-based approach, including by mobilizing significant financial support and expertise. But as I keep repeating, and as Commissioner Kos also said very clearly during a visit, the accession process is not just about adopting legislation. It is a whole of society process which should lead to the transformation of a society in all its aspects. And proper social dialogue plays a vital role in this societal transformation. And as you know, and as my predecessors here have clearly stated, social dialogue is an important part of the EU acquis on social policy and employment, which are covered by Chapter 19, a chapter which is part of Cluster 3, a cluster which hopefully will be opening very soon for Albania. And in this prospect, candidate countries are expected to create an enabling environment for social dialogue and align it with EU social dialogue standards and practices. And one of the steps towards this goal will happen already tomorrow with the inaugural meeting of the EU-Albania Joint Consultation Committee, the official civil society platform established between the EESC and civil society of Albania. And I'd really like to congratulate President Röpke for driving this very important initiative. But social dialogue is not merely an accession requirement. It is important for societal cohesion. Often when visiting our projects across Albania, I get the opportunity to meet and listen to people, in particular young people. And they often raise concerns about their future and the lack of clear prospects, factors that lead them often to desire to emigrate. Among the top concerns that they have are job insecurity and lack of decent employment because of the prevalence of informal work, because of unsafe working conditions, lack of respect of the 40 working hours week, because of unpaid medical leave and annual leave, which are becoming too often the norm. Another concern is poor quality of education and of public services in general, or lack of access to quality education or vocational training, which they see would result in a smoother and faster transition to decent employment if they could have it. And last but not least, corruption. Apart from economic issues, it's not just a question of jobs, but it's a question of corruption standing in the way for realizing their ambitions. And this was confirmed also by the 2024 Balkan Barometer. The lack of a merit-based system is clearly one of the impediments that young people see for their full realization. And these challenges, of course, exist also in other countries. But in order to address them, we need an effective and meaningful social dialogue, which is a fundamental principle of the EU's social model. Proper social dialogue can help address challenges like unemployment, inequality, labor market disparities, and promote health and safety at work and inclusive education. Experiences from EU member states show that CSOs can play a significant role in the design and implementation of social economic policies, and that consultations with them is key in this respect. Quite often, CSOs are in a better position than national or local government officials to reach out to people in need. Therefore, we should strive to make space for civil society organizations, workers' unions, and human rights defenders to exercise and protect fundamental rights while also ensuring independent, free media and civil society. I know that this is a very demanding process, but the EU is there to accompany candidate countries in their reform paths, including in the areas of employment and social policy, not least with the Reform and Growth Facility that some of my previous speakers referred to. The Reform and Growth Plan is the EU's new tool to address the socio-economic gap between the Western Balkans and EU countries. The reforms covered by the facility and listed in the reforms agenda of each country of the region cover private sector development and business environment, but also human capital development, digitalization, green economy, energy, and fundamental rights and rule of law. The Reform and Growth Facility comes also with a substantial financial support to the reforms, notably 6 billion euros in grants and loans for their implementation. So again, we are here to accompany the countries and support them in these efforts. And in addition, it is precisely this facility that brings to the Western Balkan countries some of the benefits of the EU membership, even before they have membership of the Union. And the EU is supporting the Western Balkans also through the implementation of some flagship initiatives, and some have already been mentioned. For example, the Youth Guarantee, which is designed to tackle youth unemployment. And I was really pleased to launch the Youth Guarantee together with Deputy Minister in Škoda, if I remember correctly. And to properly, no, in Vlora, sorry, yes, I'm confusing. And to properly implement it, the governments and employment services will need to engage actively with civil society and social partners in order to establish and strengthen local partnerships and improve the reach out to young people. Because it's only with the input of all the stakeholders that we will achieve tangible social and economic benefits for all the final beneficiaries. And allow me also to mention two EU-funded technical assistance facilities, such as TAIEX and SocioPlus. These instruments, available for Albania and other Western Balkan countries, provide candidate countries with EU member states' peer-to-peer expertise to design and manage inclusive, effective, and sustainable labor, employment, and social protection policies, thus allowing these countries to get direct access to good practices from the EU. Our actions and support in the field of employment and social inclusion are fully aligned with the principles of the European Pillar of Social Rights, emphasizing the importance of social dialogue as a key principle for a fair and well-functioning labor market. These principles, while highlighting the need for workers and employers to actively participating in shaping policies and decisions that affect them, also urge governments to move from a listening or consultative mode to meaningful and structured civil dialogue where policies are co-developed and co-designed and decisions are taken together. To conclude, let me congratulate our Albanian hosts for taking the initiative to hold this regional event on social dialogue. It is a clear sign that you recognize the importance of social dialogue also in the context of the accession process. And of course, also the three bodies that are providing the expertise, the organizers, notably the Economic and Social Committee, the European Training Foundation, Eurofound, who will undoubtedly play a key role in strengthening social dialogue in the region. Thank you very much and have a good discussion.